Hello and welcome to IRL F2 here for round 4 in Hungary here for season 10. Today I would usually be joined by Jack Yates, but he is not able to be here, so today it's going to be Lordy instead. So hello Lordy.
Hi Kevin, I'm looking forward to a great Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yeah, of course. Hungary, last week we had Britain, which had plenty of overtakes. A little bit of controversy with the the top two actually came together. That was Kieran and Adrian Villarreal as well, both fighting for the win. Adrian ended up taking a penalty for that, which actually dropped him off the podium, which of course him going for a championship is, seemingly going for a championship. At least he is second in the championship right now, behind Ross Williams, who's been on a very good run of form, taking the last two wins, being very consistent without getting pens, is why he did get them. But today not as many overtaking opportunities. The main one going to turn 1, hopefully that's going to provide some good racing, especially maybe going into the turn 2 as well, which is certainly showed some incidents in F1 yesterday as well, as Lordy knows all too well. Anyway, he did have an incident coming out of there, but yeah, first few times, of course, being set, Tom Jewell 14.2, there's Antonio Moretti just behind him and also on a 14.2, and then a little gap to the AlphaTauri teammate Tim Verstappen. So the two AlphaTauris looking not too bad right now. The two Renaults, interestingly, both on mediums with 15.0, so they're definitely going to be going for should be going for a pole, at least judging by what they were saying earlier, as Adam Corrigan now 13.8, the first one into the 13s, and he won here last season in F3. He's in F2. The top guys are kind of similar. Of course, Tom Jewell's certainly up there as well. Tim Verstappen was in F3 as well, he's up there, so similar competition, but different circumstances. Maybe a bit more pressure being in F2 for Adam.
Yeah, I've just seen Ross actually go on his lap and he backed off coming out of the final corner. It's a very interesting tactics. Obviously, looking at the lap times being set now, as Adam goes top of the list with a 13.8, a very good lap from him as a banker. It is very, very cloudy out there as well, so you've got to remember, temperature is key around Hungary. You don't really want to be ragging these tyres around on your outlap. You want to be, making sure that these tyres are up to temperature for the lap, but not overheating during the lap, because the final sector can be very tricky with overheated tyres. But Ross backing off, so he's clearly not feeling threatened at the top. So he might do a medium lap later on in the session to get into the top 10, because it is the preferred strategy, medium hard. But a lot of soft guys out there at the moment, and some solid lap times to get started, but hopefully a bit quicker, Kevin.
Yeah, certainly 14s aren't like all too quick, and then there were a few 15s there as well. I would be expecting at least a good few people to be able to get into like a mid to high 13s. Of course, this is F2, it's a little slower than F1. You can't expect amazing, like you can't expect a Matthew Walder time going like an 11 or something, but certainly should be seeing quicker times. Ross Williams, very interestingly, of course, you were saying backing off, a 16.5 is obviously not a representative time of someone who has taken 2 wins, so yeah, it's very interesting if he's going to go with the mediums. Maybe try and get an 11th or secure an 11th to try and do a flip strategy, come from the back, which would be very interesting given he is the one leading the championship right now. If it goes wrong for him, maybe an incident, he could lose out to Adrian.
Yeah, he could. As just seen TCG Storm in the Racing Point go 10th on a medium lap, so he's struggling, especially through that last corner. Some shift down to second just to get the turn in and onto the apex. Had a few goes at it and then ran wide on exit as well, so really struggling with traction in that Racing Point. But 10th, I know that everyone has to set a lap yet, but 10th isn't too bad. Want to be at least in the 14s, I think, on the mediums if you want to be competitive for the top 10. But my eyes are on Paco Suarez. We saw some testing times from him earlier today, and he's been setting some very, very fast lap times. So let's see if he can emulate that.
Someone else who at least you would be expecting to be setting some very quick lap times is Adrian Villarreal as he comes through the final corner. He apparently had a purple sector 2, which, there you go, a 14.5, 5/10ths quicker than the next quickest on mediums for the 15.0. It's Paco, so a very, very, very good lap from Adrian, especially on the mediums, and really he could keep that lap almost and be quite decently into the top 10, because there's meant to be about a 1.2 second gap between a medium and a soft, and if you were to take that off, that's a low 13 that he would have set on softs in theory. Of course, actually setting it is another thing, but seems a very, very, very quick time from Adrian, and he must be happy with that lap.
Yeah, he must be. Like I say, some good bankers coming in now. We're coming to the 10-minute mark, and Alfie Scott in the Ferrari in 15th place. Just on board with him, taking some very smooth lines. Looking quite at one with this Ferrari at the moment. If he can just keep the confidence up and keep it in through some of the corners, this might be quite a decent lap time as he just finishes the middle sector. So I just want to watch him through the last sector. I just want to see how he takes these final two corners, because you can be too hesitant on the throttle, but you can also be too aggressive on the throttle, and it can cost you a lot of time here. You've got to be perfect, especially through this final corner. I think he's too tight. As you can see, he runs slightly wide on exit as well, but a 14.7, which puts him 6th. Not too bad from Alfie, but just a bit too close to the apex into the final corner. It's a very long corner, so you want to kind of clip it, the apex, and then naturally drift wide to the corner. But Alfie, very decent lap, 6th place.
Yeah, of course, I would be thinking he would probably be thinking himself that he could certainly have improved. Someone who's going to be looking for an improvement, maybe not making it though. Adam Corrigan, I just see him sliding through the S section in Sector 2, and yeah, he's actually going to be backing off, so clearly not enough of an improvement from Adam Corrigan to warrant finishing that lap. Of course, he is currently the pole sitter with a 13.8, only person in the entire grid to be getting into the 13s. Of course, Kieran is actually setting a lap, I think. He is actually setting a lap. He's in turn 2, as he's going to come through a flat turn 3. Of course, he was looking for a win last week in Britain. He arguably got robbed of it because he was in an incident which... Oh no, he's actually gone round. Getting up on that curb is never a good thing, and of course he's gone around, and that is his lap over. He was on mediums as well, so...
Well, that's the risk, Kevin, with running the mediums. As Suarez, Paco goes top of the leaderboard with a 13.5. Very, very solid lap time for this stage of qualifying. He's got a time for, I imagine, 2 more runs if he wants, but maybe just the one. But very impressive from the Renault driver there. Just on board with Tom Jewell as he comes through the first sector now. Turn 5 up the hill. Nice short shift there into 5th. Want to see him into the chicane. He shifts down to 3rd. Maybe a bit too tentative in the entry, but very smooth on exit. Keeps the car nice and tucked in for the sweeping left-hander into the right as well afterwards. He's really at one with this AlphaTauri. I just hope he can keep his confidence up. Maybe a bit hesitant on the throttle through there. You can carry a lot more speed if you're a bit more aggressive. But it looks like a purple middle sector according to my Delta times. Coming to the final 2 corners though. Oh, a bit of a lock up on the front left. He's double up shifted, which is very strange. I haven't seen anybody do that through there. But if it's working for him, he's double up shifted again through the final corner. Maybe not getting that revs up for the final, but it's still an impressive lap of 13.5. But I think he'll be a bit disappointed.
13.8 actually.
13.8, sorry, yeah, 13.8, sorry. 2 is
and actually, we miss Antonio. He presumably set the lap around the same time as Tom, but he's gone just a little bit quicker than Tom Jewell to go P2 with a 0.7. Of course, Paco 2/10. Well, yeah, it is pretty much 2/10 ahead in pole position. Of course, I'm sure Adrian would have something to say about that, given he's already got a 14.5 on the mediums as his banker, which is very, very good lap time. I'm sure Kieran as well. Ross, I'm sure they haven't really showed their full hand in qualifying yet. 6 minutes remaining, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, it is true. I'm just watching the Alfa Romeo of Dominic in 10th place at the moment, and to be fair to him, he's giving it his all. He's really, really pushing, but I don't think he's on a competitive lap time to challenge some of the top guys. But it's always nice to see different lines and driving styles from these guys. You know, everybody has a different style to implement onto circuits, and some benefit from a tight, close-quarter circuit like Hungary, and some people struggle through the tight, twisty sections. But it's very interesting just to see just the different lines, like the double upshifting from Tom. Very, very new to me. I've never seen that in the final sector. I think he might want to revise that. Just losing too many revs and not picking up the speed necessary, as the Alfa Romeo is clearly not happy with his lap, and he pulls in. So yeah, maybe revising his approach to this session as well. Yeah,
someone else, Louis Quinlan, of course, in in other races, he has shown pace for sure. He's actually 3/10 up in the middle sector, so it should be a low 14, maybe a high 13, depending on how well he did in the first sector and how well he will do in the final sector. But he's shown good pace in qualifying especially. It's just in the race he can't keep the consistency, and he has picked up a few pens in recent times. It's going to be a P6 of 14 flat, not too bad from him, to be fair, in the Mercedes, and I'm sure he's going to be looking for a little bit more of an improvement. He's going to have time to set one more lap time, so sure to see a few more people in the 13s.
Where is that yellow flag? It was turn 4.
His teammate, actually. That's Reece March.
They're going very slowly around the circuit. I just want to be careful just in case he gets any warnings. I think he was just moving out of the way of a few people on their laps, but it is coming to the final shootout now. We've got 4.5 minutes remaining of the session, and it's going to get juicy here in Hungary. Hopefully we can see some more challenges for the top row, but Paco Suarez at the moment really shining through with a 13.5. That's a very, very impressive time.
Yeah, his
also
teammate,
his teammate as well.
Yeah, I was going to say,
just saying, I'll let you take it away going into turn 4.
His teammate, of course, is on a lap for turn 4, very, very tricky. You can gain and lose so much time. If you're going to be careful with it, you'll guarantee no invalidation, but if you're going to be very aggressive, you can gain a tenth or two at most. So it's a big time gain. It looks like he has taken them quite well as he's coming through the twisty section of turns 8 and 9 here. It's looking like a good lap. We'll see how much he's up in sector 2 as he comes through a fast right. Very easy to invalidate on the exit there, but he is 2/10 up. This is a 13.9, remember, so he could be looking at a P2 to actually lock out the front row for Renault, which, if you remember back to season 5, it was these two guys going for the wins. Maybe they can start going for it again, as they haven't had the best start to the season. He's going to come out of the final corner with quite a wide line, which is very interesting, but he is actually going to make it a front row lockout for Renault, so they're going to be happy for now. But that is looking like his final run. Paco Suarez is actually also on a lap. He's just finishing up. I'm not sure if he's up on his time right now, but he's going to be coming through the final few corners as well. 13.5. No, he's actually going to be coming to the pits, so he doesn't think that he'll be able to improve. But right now the Renault's locking out the front row. Louis Quinlan is looking to improve. I think I just caught he was a little bit up in sector 1, but I didn't quite catch how much. There's a little bit of traffic in the Ferrari just in front of him.
The McLaren in the final
well
sector.
Then might actually be worse going on board with him. Then he's just a little bit behind. He's going to be coming through the chicane now. This is a little bit of traffic. I think that's actually the Renault of Jared Fosbury there. He previously just put it on P2. Can Kieran have anything to say about it? Does he have anything to say about the provisional pole position right now too? Is this going to be his final lap? He's of course 9 seconds up, unsurprising, on his 1:32, so it's kind of like a one-shot qualifying for Kieran. There's a few people still on their outlaps. That's Tom and Antonio still yet to show their final lap times, but Kieran is going to come around the final corner now, and we'll see how well he's going to do. Only 8th fastest after fighting for a win and taking pole last week out. He's not been able to do enough. Ross Williams is on the mediums actually, so it is very interesting. He is going for the alternate strategy for sure. It's just really a case of can he get it into the top 10. So I'm going to try and find someone. A few outlaps still going on. Of course, it's still quite early. Actually, Paco Suarez is going to get another lap in, interestingly. So he just about had enough time to get in and go out for another outlap. So we're not even close to the finish. There's still plenty of laps left.
Yeah, I just saw Rutty Boy in the racing point. He's currently in 17th place. He actually hit the wall quite badly. I'm not really too sure how he's not got any damage from that, as we see a few guys retiring, maybe not getting the best out of their laps. Ross, I think, his qualifying's over. I don't think he's going to be able to get back out. So the alternate strategy really not working for him, and he's the championship leader, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not really too sure what McLaren were thinking about with the strategy there. That is an embarrassing call from him. He should have gone out on the soft, should have set one of his best lap times and been in the mix with the top guys. He's currently 14th.
Oh, Tom Jewell has actually gone around in the fast turn 4, and he's broken off a bit of a swing as well. That's his qualifying over, so the best he'll be hoping for is 4th place, and Tony Moretti was following just behind him. So that's a bottle from Tom Jewell then, but we'll see how Antonio Moretti can do. A little bit of an improvement will beat Jared Fosbury. Right now the Renaults do lock out the front row, and the McLarens seemingly couldn't do anything about the front row lockout of Renault, and it's a 2/10 improvement seemingly for Antonio Moretti. So he is on for pole position, you'd think, right now. It's a 13.5 set by Paco Suarez. He's going to be coming through the penultimate corner now. A little bit of a lockup maybe from the Red Bull, as Adam Corrigan actually seems to do the same thing as Tom Jewell there in turn 4, I think. But Antonio Moretti's going to come across the line. He is going to set a 13.4 and put it on pole position. A very good lap time from him when he needed it as well, because he hasn't had the best start to the season, and he puts it on pole. Very nice lap from him.
Very, very impressive from him, as we see the stricken Alfa Romeo of Gravity, or Adam, as he's known, just going past for Paco Suarez. He's coming into chicane. Oh, he's very late on turning there. So Paco's really giving it his all through this lap, but
wait,
I don't know if he's gonna...
I do actually have to... Adrian is setting a final lap. I'm not sure if you were commentating over him 2 seconds ago. I forgive me if you were, but he is coming to the final corner. Of course, Antonio previously did take provisional pole. Can he do anything about it? He does, a 13.3.
Yeah, it's crazy. And look, Suarez has lost it coming into the penultimate corner, and the Renault driver has bottled his lap. He looked the fastest out there. I've seen him in testing, set a 13.1. So he's going to be very, very disappointed with that performance. He's stuck there with the Renault. Is there anybody else that can challenge on this lap? I don't think anybody can. And what an impressive lap from Sassy Pickle to go top of the timing sheet with a 13.3. Very, very quick. That could even get you a few good places in F1.
Yeah, and crucially as well, of course, being second in the championship, his title rival, or you would think, I mean, it is still early days, I mean, you never know, Antonio or either of the Renaults could make a comeback, of course. Jared's been on the podium 3 times in a row, getting 3 third places in a row, so he seems to be liking the 3rd spot, but I'm sure he would prefer a win. If he was able to get a few wins, maybe he could be brought into this fight, but the person who's first in the championship, 15th, second, is on pole.
I know, like I said earlier, the McLaren garage, I'm not really too sure what the strategy was there. He went for the medium to try and get the best possible lap time, but he's nowhere near the top 10. So McLaren really do need to get their finger out and do an impressive race stint, because it's going to be very, very difficult. You cannot overtake around Hungary, Kevin. Yeah,
really difficult. Of course, we know all too well from yesterday, going down the start-finish straight is the best opportunity, but it's still quite difficult. So Adrian Villarreal, of course, takes pole position with a 13.3, getting ahead of Antonio Moretti, not even by a tenth, so it wasn't even too much of a difference. Any mistake could have been the difference. Paco Suarez, of course, was trying to set another lap, couldn't do it. He goes third, Jared Fosbury 4th, Tom in 5th, Adam Corrigan 6th, Storm 7th, Venom, well, I should have said Louis there, 8th, Kieran 9th, and then Tim rounds out the top 10. And then Andy Crow is in 11th, then Reese, Sean, and I did not get the rest, but we will get it when we got on the formation up.
Yeah, very impressive qualifying for some of these guys, you know, rivaling some of the F1 times of last night. Yeah, it's really, really competitive, you know, it's kind of a split grid at the moment. You've got a lot of these guys in the top 10 who are really, really pushing the limits of the track, pushing their cars to the max, and really delivering these lap times. And then a few guys who are just not at it, off the pace today, doing the alternate strategy, and it's just not working. So it's very, very split grid today, but hopefully it provides some very good racing for us.
Yeah, and of course a major talking point is going to be how well Ross Williams can do, coming from, I think it was 15th that he qualified, of course, going on the mediums, couldn't get a final lap, and he was on the mediums again, so he was doing a second lap going in and then back out on the same tyre, which was a very interesting strategy choice. If he went on the softs, maybe it could have been different, but that's always hindsight. So factually, he is in 15th, and he's going to have to do something with that alternate strat and come through the field to try and protect his championship lead, which right now is 11 points. Because actually, Adrian, with that penalty from last week, it would have been 4, I think, but it demoted him, I think, 1 or 2 places, so that is the difference. But Adrian making up for it today, putting it on pole position, and it's a great chance to get some of that gap back, if not all of it.
Yeah, I just want to say big shout out to Adam on the 6th place qualifying. He was struggling immensely in testing, and he gave him a few tips to the setup, and we were going through a few different lines he could take, maybe altering the setup at some places. And he's really put in an impressive lap time in 6th place. He's not as slow as he thinks he is, and I think he just needs to believe in himself a bit more. Give yourself some confidence. Don't go into a race thinking you're not going to win. Go into a race thinking, I'm going to try my best and I'm going to win these races. Because if you set yourself up for failure, you're going to fail, aren't you? But, very impressive 6th place from Adam.
Yeah, and something else that's definitely to be pointed out, of course, the 2 Renault guys who were fighting for the championship in Season 5, so they know all too well what it's like fighting for wins, especially with each other. Of course, Jared Fosbury was the one who came out on top all those years ago in Season 5. That was back in the 2018 game, I'm pretty sure it was. So, they're starting 3rd and 4th. I'm sure they're going to be fully committed to helping each other out. Of course, the 2 guys in front, they're, especially Antonio, he's going to be really going for a win because he has the pace, so he's going to be looking for a win. And Adrian is going to be looking to try and pull a gap and get the win to try and claw back some of the gap lost from last week to Ross Williams. And I think the 2 Renaults are going to be very punchy because they haven't got a win this season. They've got 3 P3s, and I'm sure they're going to be looking for something better today, especially in such a good position as a team.
Yeah, very true. You were showing your age a bit there, saying about 2018, Kevin. You better be careful. People might be thinking you're a bit older than you are. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. Hungary always does spice things up, especially last night. People consider this track quite a dead circuit. Well, in my opinion, the racing's as good as the people on it. So if the racing isn't good, then the people on the track need to do better. But I've got high hopes for this race, definitely.
Yeah, and it's set up very well. Of course, the top 2 in the championship very separated to go into this race. We're going to have 5 red lights in a few moments. So 5 red lights for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go, and it looks like Adrian has got a good enough start. He's going to be leading into turn 1 to 2 Renaults, pressuring the Red Bull of Antonio either side of him. That's, I think, Paco Suarez going on the inside, so it looks like he has actually made the move there. I can't really tell because the timings are very much wrong, but Antonio has dropped down to 3rd. There's a Renault there dropping down, going side by side with the Merc. That would be Louis Quinlan trying to make up a few places, so it looks like a very nice start from him. But in the early stages, what I can say, Adrian getting the start that he needs, and he's going to be leading the early stages of this race. The Renault guys, it looks like a good and bad kind of thing. Jared Fosbury up to 2nd, Paco dropping down to 6th. So they're going to be hoping to improve that. But the big winner really, Adrian. Actually, a safety car already. There's a Ferrari off. That's Alfie.
Alfie. I don't know what happened there. Just lost it in turn 4 on his own. Shattered his front wing and then decided to turn into the barrier all on his own. So he was actually still in the race when the safety car came out. And then he's just decided to drive into the wall. So I'm not really too sure what he was doing there. Ross. He's dropped positions to 16th. He was struggling to get past Riceman in 15th. And really just couldn't get past him. Tried to move into turn 4, then looked at him into turn 5. It was a ballsy move, but just didn't pay off. And he's down there in currently net last place.
Yeah, of course, leading the championship, it's not something you want when your title rival, you could say, at this point is leading and you're all the way at the back. It is going to be interesting to see who pits, though, because, of course, yesterday in F1 we had an early safety car. Everyone went for medium to the end. Some people stayed out to go the standard soft-hard, and it worked out for some, didn't work out for others, and it will be very interesting to see how this works out, because Ross didn't actually pit now, so he's up into 9th. He started on mediums. He's going to have to go to a set of hards at the end, which I'm not sure will be a help or hindrance, but I'm sure he'll be happy knowing that he gained quite a few places by staying out. It's just a case of if he can keep those places.
Yeah, I do agree. The strategies are obviously going to vary. I think we'll get some people going medium. We'll get some people going soft, hard, keeping with the original strategy. I don't really think there is a right answer here. It was very tricky in F1 to decipher which strategy was quicker in overall, because the mediums do have a very severe drop-off point where you realise that the grip is going and you think, oh no, and you're seconds off the pace. So it's very, very difficult for these drivers to pick. The hards, very durable tyre can go probably to the end of the race now. They'd be very, very worn, but they can go to the end of the race if you are careful on them. But obviously they're the slowest tyre out there. If you want consistency, it's the hard tyres. But if you want to give that extra go, push, make some overtakes, make up places, the medium for me.
Yeah, and that's also similar to what happened to last week as well. It was a safety car they got kind of early in the race. Some people went for hards, some people went for mediums, but by the end those mediums were gone, which is basically kind of what the case would be here with the mediums dropping off quite early. So in the end, Ross was able to... He didn't actually pass them on track, but it was definitely the better strategy though. He was like probably half a second quicker by the end of the race being on the hards compared to the mediums. So yeah, it's certainly it's going to be a split decision. Whose strategy is going to be better? It sort of depends on who actually pit as well and who started on what tyre from the back, because of course there's like 4 people who gained a lot by already starting on the mediums, everyone behind now on the mediums. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Only 3 people staying on softs.
Yeah, also just a hidden gem in there, quite difficult to see from all the way over here. But there's one guy on the hard tyre, and it's a McLaren, quite surprisingly. In 11th place, he's the only man to be on the hard tyre. So I think I got to give him props. I think if he's going to go to the end of the race, I've got to give him full credit. Obviously, he could go soft at the end of the race, or maybe even go hard medium, but I don't see why anyone would do that. I hope he goes to the end of the race and tries the strategy just to see where he finishes. He's currently in 11th at the moment, but it could really, really benefit him. And obviously his teammate's going to be making a new stop. His teammate's got better tyres and got track position over him, so these two aren't going to trip over each other.
Yeah, that's very true. Of course, Kieran presumably going to the end. If he's not, then he's going to have to go softs very, very late on and try and make up some places. But if he's going to take those all the way to the end as we get safety car in this lap, so it's all up to Adrian when he wants to go. Jared Fosbury just behind him. Of course, Jared started in 4th, so actually quite a good start to get up into 2nd by the exit of turn 1, and he's going to be looking to pounce on Adrian Villarreal, so it's all up to him. He can bring it up to the line if he wants, as Matthew did last or yesterday, or I'm pretty sure it was Matthew anyway who was leading, but we'll see what Adrian does now.
Yeah, I do agree. I'll take you through the safety car restart just because I'm very intrigued to see how these mediums heat up. Sassy Pickle doing a brilliant job of holding these guys up until the last minute, and the mediums do cool very quickly, but he has bolted now at the final corner. That is a perfect restart from the Haas driver out in 1st, but it looks like Tom's going to be under pressure going into turn 1 from the Williams. Is he going to go for a bit of a dive bomb? No. Backs out of it in the end, nearly actually crashes into the AlphaTauri driver there, but it seems a very clean getaway from everybody. No spins thus far, but an overtake on Ross. There, the Red Bull going round the outside of turn 2.
Yeah, and also getting pressured by Louis Quinlan as well. He was trying to keep it around the outside. He's going to have the inside for the next corner, and actually, he's going to make the move there as well. So, very ballsy move to be going down the inside. He was just alongside. He kept it in there, and it did work out for him up into 8th place. So, Ross Williams losing another place, and actually that's a racing point round. That's Adrian Storm, I guess I would say. Actually, Lennon, I should say, yeah. Adrian Lennon, who's gone around. He's down into 13th place, very unfortunately for him. As Adam also, maybe it was actually an incident between those two, because Adam's lost some places as well.
Yeah, crazy. The Red Bull in 9th place at the moment has got wing damage. There is issues on that Red Bull. It is all over the place. It's being overtaken left, right and centre. Adam goes down the inside and overtakes the Red Bull. It's on. He's moving out of the way for people, so there are serious issues. Christian Horner on the pit wall is fuming. Not too sure what happened there. Couldn't catch a glimpse of what's happening, but as you can see, after the safety car, he is pulling into the pit lane after pulling off such a magnificent move on Ross.
Yeah, more bad luck for the Red Bull driver as well, because he's DNF'd a few times after some races looking like they were going to be very good for him in terms of scoring some good points, but it's round 4 and he's going to be, well, maybe not pointless. If he can come back, it would be a very good drive to get some points, but yeah, more bad luck for the Red Bull driver, and really unfortunate, I'd have to say.
Yeah, so Dominic Hurley's also in the pit lane as well for a new set of mediums, so I think he's been caught up in his own separate incident. at the moment. It was all kicking off through the middle sector, but I did warn you about these cold mediums. I said, you know, the mediums have such temperature issues around this track. The softs aren't too bad because they're worn softs as well, so on the restart they probably would have been at perfect temperature for these guys, but the mediums cool so quickly, and it's clearly affected some of these guys now, and obviously having to pit and wing damage and spins all over the place.
Yeah, at the front, crucially, Adrian has bolted. Of course, he said he had a very, very nice restart on the safety car, and he has pulled a 1.3 second gap, and also Jared Fosbury kind of under pressure by Tom Jewell behind as well as DRS gets enabled, so he's going to be able to pull away a little bit at the front unless Jared Fosbury can do anything, maybe pick up the pace, turn up the engine modes a little bit. But right now it's looking good for Adrian out in front, and he's looking to, well, of course, take the win and try and claw back the gap to Ross, who, if it finished like this, I am fairly sure he would take the lead and pull away a little bit as well.
Yeah, just looking at Tim having a really good battle down there in 11th with the racing points, and fantastic driving from these two. Storm tried to go around the outside into turn 1. Tim did a switchback on him, and now look at them, they're all over the place, really scrapping hammer and tongs for this position. It is 11th at the moment, but this 11th place could be crucial for track position later on, as we see, like you say, Adrian pulling away out the front, and also Tom not doing a bad job. They haven't got penalties as well. This track's an absolute mess for penalties. You get penalties for running wide, you get penalties for not running wide, you get penalties for taking the track properly. So a bit of a dodgy system from Codemasters round here, but I have to say, Tom Jewell, if he can keep in this DRS, is in a very, very good position for a podium here. He's going to have clear air apart from Jared and Adrian ahead of him on the hard tyres, and he can just run his own race, but he needs to keep in that DRS. It just looks like he slipped back a slight bit, but I think he will get it back on the next lap.
Yeah, he's kind of playing with being in and out of the DRS range. Same with Sean and Andy behind. It's kind of all following about 1.2 seconds after each other. Adrian a little further out, 1.5 seconds now, the gap. So, yeah, it kind of looks like Adrian is controlling this race. Of course, he did it in other races as well. He's actually crossed the line in first in the first 3 races, but of course 2 of them were taken away by penalties. So really, one thing I'm sure he's going to be looking at is not getting any penalties, and of course he hasn't right now. A few people have further down the grid, so if he can keep away from the penalties, as actually Andy Crow there getting a little out of sorts through the chicane, and the Mercedes is going to close up just a little bit more, and he's going to lose time to the Williams just in front as well. So that's not going to be the best situation for him. But yeah, actually he's going to be going down the inside as well.
Just to interrupt, Red Venom, yeah, brilliant move from Red Venom up the inside, and look
and
at
actually
this.
Ross Williams as well.
Yeah,
he's going to be looking right around the outside, and then the Renault of Paco Suarez also maybe looking down the inside as well. If he's going to make the move, then it would be very unfortunate for Andy, losing 3 positions in such quick succession, as they're going to be side by side. Paco tries to squeeze in, as actually I see Jared Fosbury in the pits there, but we're going to keep on board with this. Paco Suarez is going to have the inside for turn 1. Is he going to be able to complete it? It looks like he is, unless Andy can get some sort of switchback, as actually he's lost the rear a little bit. Paco's going to open up DRS, and I think that's going to be all she wrote, as Paco goes up into P6. Andy losing 3 positions.
Yeah, well, really unfortunate for Andy there, losing all them positions, but that's what happens at Hungary. You make one mistake, tyres overheat, you've got no grip whatsoever, and you get mugged. It's nice to see Ross has finally pulled his finger out as well. He's really starting to ramp up the pressure on the Mercedes ahead of him, and he really needs to get a move on now. He's got a title defence, I guess. You know, he's currently leading the championship, so he's got it in his hat. He's got one hand on the trophy, so he's really got to get a move on now, especially since the championship contender is currently in first place, his nearest rival anyway so far.
Yeah, and with Jared pitting, he's also got a 3.5 second cushion to Tom Jewell as well. So really, it has been Ross Williams to take the wins away from Adrian in the second and third round. So if it's going to be anyone, you would expect it to be this man here, as we're seeing him close up to the Mercedes of Louis Quinn, as Louis Quinn doesn't actually have any more DRS on the guys in front. Is actually Adrian pitting now, along with Tom Jewell as well. Both of them in.
Yeah, definitely have to come into the pit lane now. They've seen Jared. Jared is the cork in the bottle. Jared actually might undercut Adrian at the front. You know, that's how powerful the undercut is around here. We're also going to see Tim go up the inside of the McLaren for P7. A very nice move from him, and he needed to get it done because that McLaren is on hard. So let's just see what these guys fun the lap.
Yeah, Jared Fosbury just behind. It looks like he did maybe close a 10th or two, but it wasn't a good enough outlap, especially he didn't gain back that DRS advantage. He did maybe gap a little bit on Tom Jewell, as Tom Jewell was about 1.2 seconds, so decent job there, but wasn't enough to get. As actually,
yes.
Kieran Spears is fighting a little bit with Adrian Lennon there for 8th place. I'm not sure who was overtaking who, as I only caught the end of it at the chicane, but right now Adrian coming on top as actually Kieran goes very wide and picks up a 3-second time penalty as well.
Yeah, it was a brilliant move from Adrian.
And he's actually had a little bit of a mistake on the curb. It looks like he kind of broke a little bit or had to correct it somehow, as he's actually going to be coming into the pits.
Yeah, something's wrong with that McLaren. I don't know if he's got front wing end plate damage or what, but that McLaren is all over the place. He's going to get them hards off, and the hard strategy has not worked for him. It was a fantastic move from the racing point. He actually went up the inside into the chicane and then had the line through the corner, and Kieran unfortunately had to go over that sausage curb, which is just dangerous.
Yeah, Kieran
for
puts
traction
on the mediums, but no wing change.
Very interesting. He must not have felt comfortable on them hard tyres. It's a bit of an odd choice. Normally them hards are the beneficial tyre, especially at this stage of the race. Get them heated up, they're going to run like a dream until the end of the Grand Prix. But I'm intrigued to see how quickly Adrian catches 9th place, because this is going to make or break his race. If he catches these guys too quickly, he's going to compromise his strategy. He's going to fall back.
Oh, actually, someone else who's fallen back a little bit. Paco Suarez got a little bit up under the grass there. He was following behind the top 3 quite closely. He's lost a few tenths, not the DRS, but getting up on the grass, going through, I'm not quite sure what corner it was. It was entering sector 3, but he was following quite closely and just clipped the grass. So it's not going to be any moves for Paco Suarez anytime soon.
Yeah, unfortunately for Paco, he's just in that bit of a cluster of a train, so it's really difficult to pass that front four. They've got a lot of pace, but I think the guy out in front is the cork in the bottle. The guy currently in net P1, he needs to get a move on with it. These guys on the hards have some serious pace, and like I say, that gap to 9th place is already 5.3 seconds.
And Adam actually going at it for what is currently P5 on track. Adam Corrigan, I think, making the move finally on Andy, as he was following behind him. Andy losing those few positions allowed Adam to be right up behind him, and Adam has made the move.
Yeah, you definitely got to stay on board with these guys at the front. That Williams, who's leading the race, is just not got the pace so far. We've got yellow flags in sector 1, not too sure, probably a back marker moving out the way, and sector 2. But these guys in front, Red Venom really wants to get past the Williams. He's struggling to keep behind him because it's so difficult to follow so closely, and that Williams just doesn't have the pace. Yeah,
as you can see, it's just too hard to close up, because you can have a pace advantage on someone, but overtaking them is another story, and usually it's on strategy that you make these kinds of overtakes. But this overtake really crucial right now, because Adrian, of course, he's back in 10th place with a little bit of clean air, and this Williams really is holding these guys up. As you can see, they're following so closely. He's actually, Ross almost hits into the back of the Mercedes there, as the Mercedes may be braking a little earlier, I'm not sure, but Ross almost hits it into the back, and almost gets a bit of wing damage, but he's okay for now, luckily.
Yeah, these guys need to clear him. Sassy Pickle, Adrian's got some serious pace. He's just at the fastest lap of the race on these hards. He is catching like a steam train at the moment. That car is on rails. These guys need to get a move on. It's really jeopardising their race. Ross especially does have the pace, and so does Paco. But they're just struggling to get past Paco, and Ross can't do anything. They're just stuck behind these two. The Mercedes needs to get the job done and clear this Williams, because it is detrimental to these guys' race.
Yeah, and the gap to leader, of course, Adrian at 11 seconds roughly behind us. This yellow flags, is that okay? That's Chris Rudd actually going around in the racing point. He was running last, and he's just a little bit further behind. There's a virtual safety car now, actually. Is this going to be an opportunity for people to pit here? Ross Williams and Sean taking the opportunity, and Paco, but actually Louis Quinlan staying out. He had the opportunity to pit, but he didn't. Same with Adam Corgan.
Yeah, this rutty guy needs to vacate the track. He's causing a lot of issues, and he's driving all over the grass, into the wall and everything. He's a bit of a danger on the circuit, so hopefully he can come to his senses and clear the circuit, because he's just caused a virtual safety car and it's completely changed the race at this current point. And he will actually be
interesting to see, though. Jared Fosbury, obviously, he's following behind Adrian, but Sean is going to come out not too far behind him. Tom Jewell actually gets in between Ross and Sean, so Ross is actually going to have to clear him. He's going to get to doing it very, very quickly, as he's going to be looking around the outside of turn 4, an actual switch back there as well, as they're going to be going side by side, going into turn 4, a very, very tricky corner, as Ross is going to be getting the corner, and he's going to be on the outside, round the outside, and he's going to clear Tom very, very nicely there, very quickly as well. So a move that really needed to be done, and he made it as soon as he could, and now he's the one behind Sean. Of course, it was Louis Quinlan behind. Louis Quinlan couldn't make the move, maybe Ross can.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what Tom was playing like there. He should have been a bit more aggressive. He had the line into the corner, he was ahead of Ross, and he just allowed Ross to do a switch back on him. You know, he should have been in overtake down that straight. He's got 90% of it, for God's sake. Use some of it, Tom. He's not using any of it. He needs to start using some of it. He's on nearly 100% ERS. You know, he's let the position go. Whether he wants to follow Ross, I'm not too sure. But like I say, Ross is in the same position behind this Williams. I'm not too sure if it was the right call to put under the virtual safety car, because they have lost so much time. Like, Tom has lost so much time.
I think he's going to be able to make a move, though. Ross Williams is going to be looking down the inside of turn 1. He's going to be finally seeing clean air ahead of this Williams, really, that Williams has been enjoying for so many laps, and he's going to be on the outside for turn 3, and actually a little bit of contact there as well. The Williams almost gets spun around. He's luckily able to continue on, so maybe a little bit of an incident there, but it looks okay for now. As Paco Suarez now looking around the outside, he's going to have to back out there. You have to be ahead of there, really, to make a move. As Paco Suarez again trying it down the inside, a very ballsy move there. Could have easily caused a crash there, but he's going to make it work. He's going to be side by side going through the chicane, but is not going to be able to make it work, and both of them really just kind of lose time to the guys in front.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep sticking with these guys for too much longer, because Tom's really frustrating me at the moment. He's gone from, you know, a podium guaranteed position. He was in a really, really good spot, and he's pitted onto these hards. He's come out in traffic, and he's just battling these guys too softly. He needs to be a bit more aggressive. Push them wide, take them off the racing line, Tom. You've got so much ERS at your disposal. I'm seeing Paco with 50% going up to turn 4 using ERS, because he can see Tom's vulnerable. So Tom really does need to, you know,
Ross Williams,
get into it.
Fastest lap there. So he is certainly using this clean air to his advantage, as Paco Suarez goes down the inside of Tom Jewell, and he's going to make a very easy move there in the end. A dive bomb into turn 1, kind of, and he's going to make sure that places his up into 8th.
Yeah, Tom just slipping back. Hopefully these hard tyres can work for him later in the race, and he can claw some of these positions back. Got to give shout out to Jared as well. He's not quite been on the pace as Adrian, currently in 4th place, but he has been doing a very, very good job out there in a net P2 at the moment. Obviously the guys ahead like Tim, Adam, Red Venom haven't pitted yet, so these guys will slump down further down the field. But it'll be interesting to see whether these guys come out on these mediums, because I imagine the hards are starting to transition to the faster tyre, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see if they can eke out any more performance in these mediums.
Yeah, that's true, and also something to point out, of course, Tim is Tom's teammate, and the current net race leader is coming up behind. There's a little bit of a fight for the on-track lead. Of course, this isn't the net lead by any means, but Adam Corgan is going to be looking around the outside of Louis Quinlan, inside for turn 3, and he's going to make the move. So looks like quite a nice move there, as Adam makes up another place.
Yeah, Adam's been on fire this race, really taking every opportunity that comes his way. He's always just on board with Paco. He just used overtake on the exit of the corner and lost the rear there. Very, very very, very strange decision to use the overtake there, Paco, but he's really trying to hunt down Ross. I think Paco knows he's got the pace this race, and the fact that he is behind this Williams still really is hurting him. It really is. Look at the dirty air. He just can't turn in. He needs to get him out of the way.
Yeah, and of course Ross Williams did clear him earlier, and of course the gap now almost 4 seconds between them. So it is definitely a benefit for Paco to make this move, but he's just not able to do it at this time, and he is certainly losing time. Is actually Ross Williams closing up to Paco's teammate Jared Fosbury, who's currently running a net P2. So actually, in the end, Ross Williams is in a podium position, it seems. And if you remember, in the earlier laps, he had a bad start. He was last.
Yeah, he was last. I'm just going to check the pit stops now. Ross has only made one pit stop. It was onto... he started... What did he start on? He started on the medium tyres. And he's transitioned to the hard tyres. So Ross is in the ultimate position now. These hards easily go to the end of the race. They're going to have loads of life left in them. And compared to Jared's hards, who, you know, they've got 5 extra laps on them, Ross could easily be pushing for a second position as Tom actually goes on Paco. But Paco's spun. Paco's got no wing. There's been contact there into turn 1, and Paco is round, and that is race over for Paco. He's going to have to move out of the way of everyone coming past him, but it was with Tom, so I'm not too sure what's happened there between them two. Tom coming back with a bit of a vengeance, but that's crazy. That's crazy that Paco's lost his wing. It's
looks like Tom doesn't have any damage himself, but of course it would have been between them. Maybe Paco trying to move on the Williams. I'm not sure if you saw the entire thing, but...
No, I only caught the last glimpse of Paco spinning, so it could have either been with Tom or with
maybe
the Williams.
Paco was trying to move on the Williams. Maybe Tom saw an opportunity that Paco didn't expect, and then maybe there was some sort of three wide moment. You never know, but yeah, something to be looked at later, maybe. But for now, Paco down on 14th. Very unfortunate for him.
Just a shout out as well. I know we've been getting on Sean's back a bit in 7th for not really being on the pace of some of these guys, but I've got to hand it to him. He's making the best out of a bad situation. You know, he's not got a lot of ERS.
Actually, Ross Williams going for a move on Jared Fosbury. Now he's on the outside for turn 1, and he's going to keep it there just about. He actually gets kind of pushed off the track a little bit by Jared Fosbury. Jared Fosbury not letting him go by at all as he looks down the inside. That's a little bit of damage for Ross, and it's not something he would have needed. I'm not sure if it's significant. No, it is actually significant damage. He's lost a large chunk of that right end plate there, and it's not going to be helping him out in terms of downforce. As you can see, actually, with his onboard, he's really...
he's not happy with that. Ross has actually pulled off to the side of the track. I don't know. It's hard to judge from the commentary box on what has happened.
What is he doing?
I'm not too sure. I think Ross has either had a malfunction of controller or something. It did look like it turned left, but he's not seemed to be rejoining the track. He's just waiting for yellow flags. Not too sure what he's on. We'll carry on with the race anyway. If he keeps doing that, we'll obviously be reported to the stewards. It was a very interesting move. I think Jared was very...
Okay, now he retired. Yeah, he was waiting for everyone to go through, and then he retired.
Okay, fair enough. But it was very interesting from Jared. He was too aggressive in turn 1, pushing him wide. No damage done there. Bit too aggressive for my liking. And then turn 2, it did look like Jared moved in the braking zone a bit late, but it was quite far back from Ross. So I don't know. It's hard to judge from the commentary box anyway, as Tim does pit from P3 onto the mediums. So Tim's got a fresh set of mediums to the end of the race. Let's see what he can do with them. But he is currently out of the points, but not too far away from these guys in the points. But yeah, just another shout out as well before I pass it back to you, to Sean. I was just saying that Sean has probably not been on the pace as these guys, but he's 5th place. And, you know, he is driving the best that he can with the setup that he's got, and he is doing a very good job. So big shout out to Sean. Yeah,
and net P3 right now. Of course, he's kind of taken what would have been Ross's net P3. I don't know why Ross would pull off like that. Yes, you had damage, but you could have kept going. Like, it still would have been a P3. You never know how penalties could have worked out as well, but it's going to be no points, where he definitely would have scored points if he kept going, but he hasn't, and yeah, it's just a wasted opportunity for good points, especially given where he started.
Well, one race can make or break your season, and that might be Ross's make or break season, as we see the guys on the medium tyres now pitting for the fresh set. This is what they were
Oh,
waiting
did
for.
Adam get out ahead?
Held.
Actually, Louis Quinlan has actually jumped. Oh no, he hasn't actually. Yeah,
Nice game.
that was the game.
Nice from Codemasters.
Yeah, the game made it look like it, but actually.
Oh my god!
Oh, yes, a little bit of a side by side between
Oh,
Tom.
Adam's going to go up the inside. Sorry to interrupt. Oh my god, that was close quarter stuff from these guys. Adam nearly touching the side of Sean as Tom was making a move on Sean as well. Sean's really struggling on these hard tyres. Adam looking down the inside, but he's going to have the outside line for turn 3. Gets pushed wide, and maybe the Mercedes will have a look into turn 4. No, just a bit too far behind. Bit detrimental for Adam. He needs to get these guys out of the way, and it looks like a podium for him.
Yeah, all of a sudden, of course, he's on those medium tyres. If he can clear Sean and maybe catch up to Tom Jewell, who's actually back into a podium position, surprisingly, after Ross did whatever Ross did. But yeah, he's back into a podium position, but Adam is certainly going to be pressuring that as Tom is only just there, as this is actually a train really for what is P3. Of course, Adam Corrigan does have a penalty, so that's not going to help him out. But if he can get that gap, as Louis Quinlan, of course, has been fighting with him for quite a while this race, if Adam can clear the cars better than him, maybe he can pull that 3-second gap.
It's a make or break moment for Adam. He needs to clear this Williams. If he gets past this Williams on this lap, he is in the hot seat for a podium position. He needs to clear him. He's on the back now. He's using everything at his disposal to get past this Williams. Brilliant driving. The decision making from Adam today has been superb. If he can get the job done, he's got better traction, better tyres, but can the Mercedes sneak through as well? He's going to have the better line going into turn 2. I prefer the outside line, and he gets it done as well. So brilliant from the Mercedes. Yeah,
it kind of looked like the Williams wasn't really interested in kind of defending from Louis Quinlan. I'm not really sure why, because he had the opportunity to try and fight it, but he just didn't. And now Kieran is going to be next up to try and take away a spot from him, as Adam Corrigan and Louis Quinlan both are moving up a place next to clear really Tom Jewell on those old hards. If Tom Jewell can keep Adam behind, of course having the cushion of Adam having a penalty, then if he can just keep him behind for long enough, maybe those mediums for Louis Quinlan will go off a little bit later on into the race. There is still 15 odd laps left, so you never know what can happen in the end. Maybe Jared Fosbury's second place can be under threat a little bit from these guys. Of course, Louis Quinlan especially having no penalty.
Yeah, I do agree. You've seen a contrast in strategies here. This is how important nailing the strategy is round Hungary. Adam, who's nailed everything about his strategy, who's looked the slower driver than Tom, especially in qualifying, but he's nailed every single strategy. He's on a set.
And Louis Quinlan's going to try it down the inside as well, the same way Adam was. He's going to try and sneak down the inside, and he is actually going to make that move as well. So Louis Quinlan really just kind of waiting for Adam to do something, and then says, okay, I'll just do what you did 2 seconds ago, and they're both up into third and fourth now.
Yeah, Louis, really impressive driving from him. He has been on the back foot, but oh, he's lost it there and he's on the grass. He's going to go wide. Can he keep it on the track? Yes, he can, but he's going to have grass on his tyres. Oh my God, he nearly undid all of the good work that he did in the previous 2 laps. Fantastic driving from this Mercedes, as I was just saying. You know, he's really, he knows what he's doing. The decision making in the split second to get past these guys is fantastic from both Adam and Louis. Tom, I think, needs to be a bit more aggressive in his defending. He just seems to be a bit of a one for a word, wet wipe as it comes to defending these guys. You know, it's a bit of a contrast you see from Tom and Adam. Adam on one hand has nailed the strategy, he's done everything correctly and he's stuck to what he was doing. And then Tom under the VSC pitted for a set of hard tyres, which I just don't think was the right thing to do. He's been swallowed up by the pack, and now he's in 5th place and looks to be dropping even further because he's got a McLaren right up his arse as well.
Yeah, luckily for him, 1.2 seconds separating them, so no DRS for the McLaren in the, immediate future, I would say. But, yeah, that McLaren on those mediums, you would be... Well, actually, no, they are actually old mediums, to be fair. So, maybe not. The McLaren would have to really pull something out to be making a move, because those hards are probably going to be better at this stage, given their 12-lap old mediums.
Yeah, I do agree. I didn't actually see that. Thought he was a fresh set of medium runners like Louis and Adam there. But Adam as well has got a bit of a breathing room to Louis. And, you know, with that penalty, Louis making the mistake. As I said, round Hungary, temperature is key. He's clearly overheated the mediums, going a bit wide, getting a few grass on his tyres as well, and he's clearly just losing that tenth of a second per lap, and Adam's capitalised on the mistake and decided to bolt. You know, Adam isn't too far away from Jared, so yeah. Adam is in the hot seat for a really impressive performance today.
Yeah, and of course there's 11 laps, well actually 12 laps left I should say, including the one that Adrian has just started. So yeah, he's got 12 laps ready to close a 1.6 second gap and start pulling away. And of course those hards are not going to be there's no competition. Like, as long as Adam makes a decent move down the inside, then it's going to work and you'll be able to start pulling. It's really just a question of would Louis Quinn follow him through, but this time 1.9 seconds back, it won't be quite as easy as it has been to just follow and do what Adam has been doing. So yeah, very nice drive from Adam right now, despite a penalty. Well, actually, it could be more than... Oh, it is actually a 6-second pen. Well, that changes a little bit. Pen.
I don't think it does to an extent. He's got more work to do, but the way Adam's driving at the moment, he's picking his opportunities perfectly, and it's not when he overtakes Jared, it's where he overtakes Jared. If he's peeing about with him in the middle sector, trying to get past him through these tricky sections, he's going to get nowhere and allow Louis back into the running. But you can see he's on the back of Jared already, and he's got DRS down this straight. If he gets a good exit through the final corner, Adam's going to be all
and he
over
actually
this
has. He is all over the back of Jared Fosbury. Jared Fosbury, of course, no DRS to use, but it looks like he has the ERS to use, because he's really pulling away going down this start-finish straight, and he is going to be able to stay ahead. But Adam Corgan, you can see the grip difference between those mediums and hards as he gets right up the gearbox of Jared Fosbury, but not able to make a move. As actually he looks down the inside a little bit. He had a little bit of a look, but couldn't make it, and he's gonna have to stick behind and stay P3 for now. 2 seconds back to Louis Cullen, who's gonna be closing in this entire lap now.
Yeah, that's the one mistake
Adam
he's
got
made.
Another penalty, did he? He did. He's got 9 seconds now. It's done.
Well, Adam needs to stop cutting corners, but I do know it's a bit dodgy around here. A bit of a shame that he has got all these penalties. But Adam, I think that's the first mistake he has made. He needed to be more aggressive. He had the ERS to burn. He needed to just plough that ERS into not into turn 1. I think turn 1 he set it up quite nicely for turn 2, but in turn 2 he's too hesitant. As we see yellow flags and Ferrari's out.
Safety car, that's Andy Crow, who's out in the exit of the chicane. I'm not sure if that was maybe an incident, maybe with Reese March, who seemed to have gone a little slowly immediately after the incident, but I'm not completely sure on that. Regardless, he is out of this race, and a virtual safety car as well.
Yeah, not so sure when the safety car's going to end. Yeah,
I was going to say maybe that could have been an opportunity for Adrian's pit, but I'm not sure how early he got the call, because if he was able to hop on mediums, maybe he could re-overtake everyone and maybe get a fastest lap to increase the well, actually get full points, to be honest, because he got pole position. So if he got fastest lap in a win, that would be all the points available to him to close up, and it's only going to be pulling away from Ross at this point, since Ross retired. Just like, he didn't have to, but he did. So
yeah, very interesting to see the virtual safety car actually lifting.
Drive through. Dominic Early.
Yeah, drive through under the VSC, very silly from the Alfa Romeo driver there. A bit unlucky as well for Adam, obviously not being able to capitalise on another straight opportunity and try and get past Jared, who's really struggling on these hard tyres. It is just, it's like a bus versus a Formula 1 car. It's really, really bad for Jared at the moment. Nothing he can do about it.
Louis Cullen, crucially, is back in the DRS of Adam Corgan as well, maybe in the range to follow Adams through, as he's been doing so much this race. So yeah, and especially with no penalties, you would expect Louis Quinlan in this position, Adam Corgan having 9 seconds, to be able to be taking a podium position. As Adam Corgan is going to come out of the final corner. He's a lot closer than he has been. He's going to be alongside as Jared Fosbury tries to close him into the wall, kind of like Schumacher and Barrichello there, but it's going to be not so much as what happened in real life, as he's going to try a switchback Jared Fosbury, as actually it still may work, as he's going to maybe try it down the inside. He's got a little bit of a tyre there. He's going to try and force him off the track a little bit, try and squeeze him, but it's not, well, it actually has worked. Surprisingly, Adam Corgan hasn't been able to keep it there, and Jared Fosbury is going to stay in front for another lap.
Yeah, not too sure what to make of Jared's driving. It's very desperate driving. Adam actually makes contact. Don't go on the inside of the chicane. But that's damage.
Damage for Adam as well.
Oh, it looked like a brake check, I'm not going to lie, from Jared. I'm not really too sure what he's playing at. He's being a bit of a hazard at the moment from these guys. I know he's trying to defend his podium with the life that he's got in these tyres. It's definitely not very easy, but it's just too much from Jared. You've got to have that level of respect for the drivers around you. You know, it's not Adam's fault that he's come out on a fresh set of mediums and Jared hasn't. You know what I mean? He's got to have that level of respect, especially for his friend. On the track, but no love lost from these guys. I don't think Adam's going to be very pleased with that, because I don't think he's going to lose just third and second. He's going to lose fourth and as well, and maybe even drop to sixth, because Tom isn't that far away.
Yeah, and Tom is actually kind of closing on this fight, and with Adam Corrigan and Louis Quinlan actually going to be battling now. I'm sure he's going to close up just that little bit more as Adam Corrigan on the outside. He's going to have the inside for turn 2, arguably the better line if you can do it right, and he is going to squeeze him and he's going to keep it there, but actually Louis Quinlan around the outside now. Adam Corrigan with damage, that should be an easy move, and it is. Around the outside is Tom Jewell, almost back in that DRS range, and actually kind of bringing him closer to Jared Fosbury, who he was following earlier in this race.
Round, just to say, Paco in the middle sector on the soft tyres has lost it, so it's been a miserable afternoon for Paco, and absolutely miserable. The man who looked the fastest on the circuit in testing before the race has an absolutely torrential afternoon down there in P13.
Yeah, it just really hasn't gone his way, has it? He's probably going to be looking for a fastest lap. He's a little bit too far away. Well, I say a little bit, he's about a minute away from points, so not going to be looking at points, I don't think. But his teammate, at least, Jared Fosbury, shouldn't be too bad for him, as he's running a pretty solid P2. If he can keep Louis Quinlan behind, it'll be kind of secure. Excuse me. But yeah, right off the circuit for Adam Corrigan with that wing damage, trying to gain back some of the time lost, but that is going to get you warnings, and then you're going to lose 3 seconds. So, I mean, you're just going to be losing yourself more time by doing that. Not the most recommended thing, I can't lie.
Yeah, the thing with Louis now is he's obviously got his main competitor sort of eliminated. Adam's obviously accumulated so many penalties and now got wing damage. He can just kind of pick his moment with Jared, really. As long as he keeps it clean with track limits, he's got 6 laps on better tyres to just pick and choose when he wants to get past this runner.
Oh, and Paco's going to be retiring in the pits.
Yeah, fair enough. It's not been a good day at the office for him, but he'll come back stronger next week for Paco. But yeah, Louis, just be careful.
Louis,
don't ride too close.
A camera shot from the rear of Jared's car. He's so close, almost touching in multiple corners through the second sector there, as you can tell the grip difference. So you would be expecting him to be able to make a move, as Adam Corrigan in the background goes wide once again, trying to gain back that time, trying to keep ahead of Tom Jewell, but it's kind of a lost cause with the 9 seconds of pens. But I guess it's a little bit of pride there as well, as Louis Quinlan almost, well, he does actually touch the back of Jared Fosbury. He might allow someone like Adam Corrigan maybe to make an overtake on the straight, but with the wing damage, maybe it's not as guaranteed as DRS for Louis Quinlan. But he's not actually closing up too much, as he's gonna look down the inside. Jared Fosbury on the outside, and it looks like he's actually gone a little too deep there, as Jared Fosbury's definitely gonna get a switchback move there, side by side. This is for track position, neither of them with penalties. Jared Fosbury's trying to well, I'm not sure if that was really turning in, but very aggressive from Jared Fosbury anyway, as Louis Quinlan goes around the outside, and he's gonna make that move stick up into P2.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate with the locking of the brakes going into turn 1, but it's really good driving from Louis. You know, you get what you're given, and Jared's been dishing out some hurt, so I think he deserves a bit of hurt of his own, to be honest with him. To be honest with you, you know, he gave, you know, Adam such a hard time trying to get past him, and look what happened. I think Louis didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. Yeah, Louis now just has to pull away.
I think Tom Jewell as well, while we were watching that battle, also made the move on Adam Corrigan, so he's up into what is P4. None of the top 4 with penalties, of course. Timber Stalins isn't too far off. He's got 3 seconds of penalties, so he needs to be within 6 seconds. So he will actually pick up the P5 from Adam Corrigan, but then Sean is within Tim, so Sean would actually take the P5 in this position, as Tom Jewell down the inside of Jared Fosbury in turn 1. and it looks like he's going to be able to make the move. Jared Fosbury actually is going to get a switchback. He seems to like the switchback because he's done it quite a lot. Is maybe he's going to dive it down the inside. He is going to try to dive it down the inside, but he's going to get squeezed just enough room from Tom Jewell. Very nice driving from Tom Jewell, as Jared Fosbury again was the switchback side by side between these two. Of course, they were fighting earlier in the Grand Prix side by side. There's never going to work in Tom Jewell round, and he is going to get damage as well. Is he actually? Yeah, he did get damage. A reset to track though. That is not allowed.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about the rulebook and the reset to track. You'll have to.
Yeah, that's a straight 5 second. Pretty simple.
Yeah, and Tom's under pressure now going to the chicane. I think he's just been passed as well. Yeah, Tom, unfortunately. I don't know what happened. He just doesn't seem very, fast through the uphill section into turn 4. Jared, I don't know how Jared got a run back on him. I genuinely don't know how that is possible. Big shout out to Tim, who's now up to 5th place. So Tim doing a very good job, and he looks like he's going to be getting 4th. Jared, I didn't think did anything wrong in that exchange. I think he did all he could, and actually did a fantastic switchback. So fair play to Jared in that instance. He did everything right. He used his ERS to perfection to keep his 3rd place. But yeah, very, very odd from Tom. He's really struggled in the first sector in this race, and it's really shown. He was on for a podium position, and unfortunately for him, he's now in the pit lane with damage, and he's going to get a point because the guy behind him is so far behind. But it's just not what you want, is it, from 3rd to 10th? Yeah,
and actually something I want to point out, Dominic Hurley, I am fairly sure he is actually still racing. He is obviously a minute off points, but if he keeps going like this, then he might be able to pick himself up a point. So, I mean, I have to say, fair play to him to keep going, and with all these other retirements, it's working out as well, as he's almost within at least getting a point for 10th if one more person makes a significant mistake. So, I mean, it doesn't look like it's much, but it's fair play.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting race. A lot of two sides of the same coin thing happening during this race, as Jared has got no life in them tyres. He's absolutely melted these hards. He's been under pressure all race, and fairly or unfairly, I think everyone will have a different opinion on that. He has kept 3rd place. Adam is still attacking him with wing damage, which says a lot about the condition of them hards on Jared. But one thing Jared has done correctly is, made sure that he isn't the one with the damage, to be fair. So fair play to Jared on his 3rd. Whether they'll look at it in the stewards, I'm not too sure if anyone wants to report any of the incidents, but it's been a very crazy afternoon here at the Hungary.
Yeah, it has, of course, having what is 6 retirements. Of course, a very unfortunate few. Ross Williams just kind of did it on his own. He got a little bit of damage and then he just went off. I mean, it's kind of like, imagine Adam got that damage and went off. He's still going. He's in fourth. So, if Ross kept going, he could easily be still in the top 5 and getting himself at least 10, 12 points, which is a lot more than what he's getting now, which is none. So, yeah, I'm not sure why he did that. And it's also 5 penalty points as well to retire on track, which is exactly what he did. So I just don't see why you would do that.
Yeah, it's hindsight, is a wonderful thing. Ambition ahead of adhesion, I think, for Ross. But unfortunately, in the heat of the moment, you don't think like that. You don't think with your brain, you think with your heart. And Ross clearly felt hard done by during the incident they had, and felt like it just wasn't worth racing for. But a lot of these drivers will tell you there's no point giving up, because anything can happen. We've had 2 VSCs, a safety car, multiple incidents. I thought Tom was going to get 8th at this race, and then he's back in 3rd, and now he's back in 10th. I thought Adam was nowhere at the start of the race, but then he's battling for 3rd. Louis in the Mercedes has come out of nowhere, and he's in a solid 2nd position, and probably going to be my driver of the day. So it is genuinely, it's a crazy afternoon. Crazy afternoon.
Yeah, it certainly has. I'm going to take a look at how the things have kind of changed to have gained the most. Of course, yeah, you were saying Louis Quinlan, he's gained 6 positions, and that's completely on merit. He's in a solid P2, and he's, even if he got a penalty right now, it wouldn't matter, as Tom Jewell actually picks up penalties in 10th. That won't necessarily matter because Dominic Hurley is a little bit too far away. But yeah, generally people gaining positions because some people who started high and did retire. But it's mainly been a very good race for Louis, and really another person a very good race for is Adrian Villarreal, who's led almost every lap of this race, especially in the net lead. He's led every lap, so it's faultless.
Yeah, it's crazy from him. He's had a fantastic afternoon. I'm just scanning through some of the penalties for these guys, because another driver I want to point out again, Sean. You know, like I said, he's not been on the ball, he's not been on the pace, but he's raced his heart out, and he's done exactly what the Williams paddock would have wanted him to do, and he looks to be on for a P5 because of penalties, because he hasn't got any. So, Sean, again, showing people that racing cleanly, even if you're not the fastest, rewards you. And it should be a lovely P5 for that man, hopefully, when he crosses the line.
Yeah, of course, like, if you keep going, keep trying, you're usually rewarded, and that's exactly what's happening. A P5 is actually, we're on the last lap, I didn't even realise. But Adrian Villarreal does cross the line in the lead, and of course he takes a dominant win, the second win of the season. And Louis Cullen is going to cross the line in second. Jared Fosbury holding off Adam Corrigan for a P3. Adam Corrigan himself taking a P4, but it's going to drop to fifth. Tim Verstaines is going to take the fourth. Kieran Spears actually goes up to fifth as well. So Adam Corrigan dropping even more, eighth as well. He crossed the line in fourth, remember. But yeah, that's it, as Tom Jewell is going to be coming around to take the final point. But yeah, that's it. The second repeat winner, of course, Ross and Adrian taking 2 wins apiece. This time it's Adrian taking the win, and Ross, no points today.
Yeah, maybe this is where the table shifts towards Adrian. Adrian put in a stellar performance, had the pace all afternoon, and has really put a marker down for the championship here. You know, he's shown how dominant he can be in these races, and if he hasn't got competition like Ross to keep him honest, he could run away with it.
Yeah, and of course he lifts the trophy to take his second win, a very nice win as well. He's taken pole position as well, an extra 2 points going for that. 13 seconds in the lead. I mean, yeah, like I between him and Louis, probably would be who you'd be looking at for driver of the day. I'd probably give it to Adrian personally, purely because it's just completely, like, if anyone didn't make any mistake, it was Adrian.
Yeah, fair enough. You can have Adrian. I'll give it Louis. I was very impressed. Picking his moments, you know, it's one thing leading a race from start to finish. It's another thing picking your way through the field when you've probably disappointed in qualifying. And Louis was the ultimate racer in that race, picking his moments, choosing his opportunities, and utilising the pace that he had to the max, and that's why he's on the second step of the podium. So my driver of the day, Louis, for me.
And of course, Jared Fosbury taking his fourth P3 this season. So once again, taking the same spot. His teammate, unfortunately, not having so much luck, and down in 13th. But yeah, that's the top 3. I'm definitely not going to catch the rest, but yeah.
Yeah, we caught a glimpse. I'm sure the viewers at home were looking at the rest of the grid for us. A lot to take in during that Hungary race, and I imagine you want to do interviews afterwards, so I'm going to just get ready for that. I'll be back in a second.
I mean, I may as well just go through really quickly because I do have it up.
Okay.
Adrian obviously taking the win ahead of Louis, and Jared running out the podium. Tim Verstaines in 4th. Sean in the end, of course, taking that 5th place. Adrian Lennon in 6th. Kieran Spears in 7th. Adam Corrigan finishing in 4th, but dropping to 8th on pens. Reece March in 9th, and then Tom, after that incident with Jared Fosbury, dropping down to 10th to take the final point. Dominic Hurley, of course, he was so far off the top guys, but kept going and picks up an 11th. Nothing really for it, but I mean, it's fair play to keep going because not many people would have done the same. And then in the retirements, I'm not going to catch all of it, but Antonio, Paco and Andy Crow, I can say definitely retiring. And then there was a few others, Ross Williams as well there. So that was the finishing order.
Right, so as you get the interviews set up on.
There we go. So I'll just wait for them to join and then... There's Louis Cullen. Just waiting for Jared and Adrian then. Okay, I think that's everyone. Well, I'll take first. You said you had some questions for Jared, so I'll let you take him and yeah. Well, I guess we'll go from there then. So, of course, Adrian. Do we have you first of all, just to make sure?
Yep.
Yeah. They're all here.
Of course, you took the win. You led pretty much every lap in the net lead, at least. You took pole as well. Didn't get the fastest lap, so not quite everything, but of course, taking points on Ross retiring. I'm not sure why, but you take the lead in the championship. You've got the win. You got pole as well. It's a great weekend for you.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Congratulations to Venom and Neon for the podium. Yeah, I was able to get the pole position there at the very end with one lap because I kind of wanted to start on the mediums, but it was kind of too slow. And then yeah, I think the one moment that was kind of stressing was when Neon pitted one lap before me. I thought he was really gonna undercut me because on this track that's really a powerful strategy. But then I was able to come out ahead. And then not much happened after that. I think I passed one Alpha Tauri, and then there was a virtual safety car, so all the medium runners ended up pitting, and I just regained track position with a decent gap. So yeah, it was just a very good race for me.
Yeah, and of course, well, if things went different for Ross, maybe if he kept going, didn't get the damage, maybe he could have challenged you for the win, because of course he was challenging Jared Fosbury, so you can never count out Ross for the next few races. But obviously pulling away a lot from him today with the maximum points almost, apart from fastest lap. Next week, Baku, do you think you'll have the same kind of go here? Of course, you're the second repeat winner. It's you and Ross have taken 2 wins apiece this season. Do you think you can take a third win next week?
Yeah, if I don't hit the wall, because I'm not very good at street circuits. But I think the qualifying should be good there, and then in the race it's just not getting damage and anything. So did he crash in this race, or what happened?
He had a crash and then he just retired on track. So
okay.
Not necessary. He definitely would have got points if he didn't.
Yeah, so I'm coming behind Neon, I think. So yeah, I was just wondering what happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, there is a possibility maybe his wheel disconnected or something, but I mean, yeah,
Okay.
From what we saw, this was retirement on track. But yeah, that's what happened with that. So yeah, I guess really congratulations on the win and good luck for next week.
Thank you.
And then we'll go to Louis, and then obviously you can take Jared, Laurie. So
yeah, far away. Got a question for Louis.
Louis, of course, you took second. Some of your races just kind of following Adam through to make your moves, and worked out well. So you picked your opportunities very nicely for yourself, and it paid off for the P2.
Yeah, no, it was very a very fun race today. Well done to Sassy Pickle, taking a win yet again. Been absolutely blinding the last couple of races. But yeah, no, Adam, he was very quick. Took me by surprise because, to be honest, Adam, I've not seen him be so quick like that in a long time. But I've got to give him a shout out for that. Got in a little bit of a predicament with Jared, but that paid off for me because I was quite patient. It's something I've been working on quite recently with penalties. I didn't really want to get a penalty. I had a race yesterday, finished P2 in league racing. It was at Monza. This week I've been really trying to perfect my racing, try and keep it clean. So that's why I just followed Adam through because he seemed like he had everything worked out.
Yeah, it is actually something I didn't really consider it, but I did mention at the start of the stream that penalties have kind of held you back from pretty decent results. Of course, I think you would have got a third or second. I'm not sure what it was in Australia without your pens, but no pens today, and obviously you took a P2 on merit. There was no penalties that you benefited from. You got that on track, and maybe it's a little bit of a turning point. Obviously, next week Baku, it's a street circuit. You get very close to the walls. Do you think you could do as well around there?
I really enjoy Baku. I feel like it's a track that I can probably do pretty well at, considering all things. I mean, my quali pace recently has been on and off. You know, I either qualify really well, I don't qualify very well at all, like today from P8. It wasn't great. It wasn't great today. I couldn't put my lap together. I knew I was capable of getting into the top three, but I knew on race pace my actual setup was built for the race, so it was really stable and pretty good. But yeah, no, I'm very excited for Baku. I feel like I could do very well there.
Well, then, congratulations for your P2 and good luck for next week then.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Take care.
And then it will be Lordy taking Jared then, so fire away there.
Yeah, just want to say quickly, I don't know if Louis is still here. The reason I picked you as driver of the day, Louis, whether you're here or not, you're
Yeah, I'm still here, man. I'm still here.
Honestly, you were on fire. You were the epitome of a racing driver. That race, you perfection. It was brilliant to watch. I know Sassy Pickle obviously had the pace, was on pole in every single session and took it, but he had a pretty easy go of it. You know, like you say, you didn't do the best in qualifying. You picked your opportunities and really cycled your way through the field. Adam, I was going to give credit for as well, but obviously had a few altercations and a few penalties that hampered his race. But just want to say, you know, if people drive like you, even if they're at the back of the grid, they're going to get some points. Just well done, man. Driver of the day for me.
Oh,
GG.
I appreciate that a lot, man. I do appreciate that a lot.
Well, we're moving on to Jared. I've had the privilege of asking you a few questions, Jared. First of all, congratulations. Very well fought for P3. You were really, really hot under the collar for a lot of that race. Just more of a personal question before anything. How do you feel your race went in your head? I know you finished P3, but it was difficult.
It went shit. That's just to say like that. You know, great start. I run on the Blaze, and then I gave him plenty of space. He didn't give my team any space, and screwed Pac over. And then I thought, well, Sassy Pickle's going to run away with it like Matthew does in F1, so there's no point fighting him, and he did, and good result on him. I can't fault it, you know. 18-second gap to me and 14-second to Louis. You know, even if there was 20 laps and those mediums were a bit better, no one could catch him, so, you know, the guy was just on form. But then Adam, the absolute muppet he is, decides, oh, I've got 13 seconds worth of penalties, I'm going to fight for a position which I'm not going to pull away. And then in the chicane, my tyres were really dead. They were at 70, and he just comes out back of my end, hits me, and gets wing damage. That's completely his fault. I can't, you know, speed up and spin out and then close the pile up. Mm-hmm. You know, he was just driving like an idiot, and then he's saying it's my fault with the Tom incident. Tom, yeah, he was on the inside, but I can't give him any more room if it's going to give me a penalty. You know, if I give more room, I'm going to get a penalty. I was on my final warning.
Yeah.
So, and the tyres were dead. Both our tyres were dead. It was a good race, and it was just unlucky for Tom to end up like that, and then he reset the track, so he's probably going to be getting a penalty for that. And with our DJ at the McLaren, he was all over my back end, and then he hit me back end at turn 3, he got wing damage, and then he deliberately crashed out, and he will be being penalised for that as well. But, you know, I'm just pissed off, to be honest. You know, drivers need to think before going for an overtake. If they haven't got the guts to go side by side, then they're not racing drivers, and they need to leave, because it's doing my head in that I'm getting gobbed at, and I'm racing my line. If I'm going for it, you've got to give each other space, and if you get hit and I'll give you plenty of space, it's your fault. So, yeah, not a good race, but, you know, there's always next round.
Yeah, very strong words coming from yourself. Completely understandable in the heat at the moment. You know, everybody has a view, and we're supposed to be as unbiased as possible. I was a bit disappointed with Adam's penalties. I thought he drove brilliantly. He really was on fire. He had a really good pace. Same with Tom as well. There were two sides of the same coin, really. You know, opposites of each other, but also the same. You know, 1 minute one was doing well, the other was doing bad. I think the Tom incident was just lack of confidence in his car. He just never used any ERS. He did a switchback on him, and unfortunately he took it a bit to heart and went on the inside. The Adam thing I won't mention. I think it needs to be dealt with the stewards. I'm not too sure how you guys run things in this league, but it was very aggressive defending from yourself. Sometimes even I said in commentary, maybe a bit over the line with some people, maybe on the limit. It was really borderline for me, but at the end of the day, you're the one sitting on the podium and they're all crashed out, so you've clearly done what you needed to do. So congratulations on P3.
Well, thank you for that. And I just wanted to add with the defending, might have been borderline, but I do learn from the best, Mr. Louis Quinlan, on that, all jokes, but you know,
What was that?
rubbing is racing in my opinion, but yeah, well, as you said, stewards will have a look into it, and if I'm in the fault, I'll take the penalty, you know. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, of course. Well, congratulations to everybody. Top 3, brilliant races from you all.
Appreciate that, man.
Honestly, it was really good to watch, and my first ever comms to the league, so hopefully I can come back if there's a spot, whenever, wherever. But yeah, congratulations you guys, and hopefully Ross can give you a bit more of a fighter up top there, Adrian.
Oh yeah, he for sure will. Sure.
Adrian, I'm coming for you next, mate. Baku, I'm coming for you.
Right, Kevin,
Yeah, bro.
Well,
finish it off.
yeah.
Sorry.
Of course, that has been IRL F2 here in Hungary for round 4. Of course, now we've had the second repeat winner, the two top guys in the championship trading wins, kind of, in the first 4 rounds. Who will take the next win? Who knows? Of course, that's all to be decided in Baku, which any one person could crash and anything could be blown wide open. So yeah, be sure to join us then, and apart from that, good night.